A simple way to find your art style is what I call the 9 up. I learned this from when I was a photographer. I had a studio and we used to sell a set of 9 prints in a frame together. And I wanted to try textured art again. I wanted to get back into a style of art that I found when I first got back into art in 2020. And I was making backdrops with it, and I just loved it so much. I was like, you can do so much with this. And so I wanted to play with that again today. And so I said, oh, I'll do a 9 up, and I can use some of the squares for textured art. I can use some of the squares for some of the other materials that I have in the studio, and I can mix and match them and just play and see what I like, see what resonates with me, see what I'm drawn to, see what works together, see what doesn't work together, see what's something that I might just enjoy for fun, that might just be a meditative practice, or, maybe I will come across something that I just am actually obsessed with. I can't give up. And so that's what I'm doing here. I allocated some of the squares for textured art. And so I'm just trying different textures, different tools. I'm going to let those dry. And while those are drying, and some of the other squares, I'm going to test out some of the other art supplies that I may not have used in a while, that I may have never used together, and just see what happens. We're just going to have fun today, just going to play. But this is a great way for you to test out a lot of things at once and see what works together, see what doesn't work together, see what you enjoy, see what you hate, and just have fun, because that's what art is for me, at least. It is pure fun, and I love it so much. I'm so happy anytime I can break out some art supplies and just kind of make anything. Not everything has to be perfect. I was finally able to let go of perfection. I'm so glad that I did, because now I can really enjoy the process, really enjoy the unknown outcomes, and enjoy seeing what works together, what doesn't work together, what I find beautiful, what I find not so beautiful, and just have fun. So let's see what happens. Here I've got out the pastels to play with them. Now these are water soluble. I could have taken water to them, but I just wanted to try some different tools, some different techniques, maybe some different colors that I don't normally use. And yeah, hand cramps. That is one of the things I wanted to do here. I wanted to use some colors that I've never used before together. Some of my pastels are worn down because I use them so much, and some of them I've never used. And so I wanted to use the ones that I've never used before here and just try different shapes, stay loose, stay free, just not be too precious with it, and just see what happens. The brayer was just a last minute thought, but I love the mattifying look that it gave the pastels. I think it's really beautiful. This is Sumi ink that I'm just kind of obsessed with. I don't do calligraphy, which is usually what this is for, but it's so black on the paper. I just love it so much, and I want to use it all the time. I just haven't found the perfect use for it yet, and maybe there is no perfect use. Maybe you just use it because you love it. This graphic style of line art I think is really cool too, even though this is a very loose, very intuitive type of line art. I mean, there's no shapes really or images. I just think this is so cool and so interesting, and that's really what I'm going for in a lot of my art, is that I want it to be interesting. I want you to find different things to look at each time for it to draw you in more and more. And so I think Sumi's a really good tool for that. And here I just kept going with the Sumi ink because I really like these line art types of drawings. I used to do them all the time as a child in my notebooks, and so it's very meditative for me. It's not something that I might want to display or sell necessarily, but it is something I truly enjoy. This gold pigment powder I picked up the other day, I've never used it before, so I just thought, why not try it here? I just added it to some white paint to see what would happen, and I'm just doing a light kind of wash over one of the textured squares, and I like it. It kind of looks like a crumbling wall or something. It's really, really interesting. Here, I thought that it started to look like wounds. It started to look like skin that just had a lot of scarring, and I thought that was so cool and so interesting. And sometimes when I'm doing textured art, most of the time when I'm doing textured art, I kind of just let the texture tell me what it will be. I try to let the painting talk to me to see what I see from the texture itself, and that's what I'm seeing here. It looks like scars to me, and I thought, that's really interesting. So I added some red for blood, of course, and it did get kind of gruesome a little bit. I was like, where are we going with this? But I trust the process. Just keep going, just following my intuition, seeing what happens. You just never know what a painting might say to you, how it might speak to you. And that's one of the fun parts, I think, about learning your style and finding your own path and your own way. Things speak differently to all of us, and just a beautiful thing. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a great thing. So I let that dry for a little bit while I thought about what else it could be, and I moved on to one of the other textured paintings because the way the texture landed on this surface really looked like topography to me. It kept looking like mountain ranges and valleys and hills, and I just thought, instead of doing a big wash over it, maybe I'll just take a sponge and dab lots of colors on some of the highest points and see what happens. I'm also working on the composition here. I was trying to be very mindful of the layout and the way that your eye would travel through the painting. These colors are very beautiful to me. They really work together to give the painting a lot of layers and depth, and to just draw you in to look below the surface, but the texture is kind of making you hover above it. I don't know. I like this one a lot. I kept playing with it, but I really like the way it turned out. Here I'm just mixing some light blue to do a wash over the next texture square, and I tried to purposefully use a lot of cooler tone colors because I usually don't. I usually love warm colors, bright colors, and so I wanted to test out a lot more cooler shades and just see if there's something there for me personally that I could bring more into my art. Coming back to this one, I'm adding some Sumi accents in black, little hair-like strokes, and more now it's starting to look like womanhood to me. I see lipstick and lashes, and I don't know, it's looking good though. It's looking different. This one I really just wanted a bright color because I end up adding yellow to almost every single painting that I make, and so I thought, just paint it yellow. You like yellow so much, don't deny yourself. So this one I'm just doing a light wash. Well, it's not a light wash, it's a pretty thick wash of yellow over the texture to just see what happens here, see what comes of this painting, see what the texture says to me in this square. I like the yellow, but I felt like I couldn't see a lot of the texture, and so I added this phthalo color on top to add some depth to it. And of course, we've got the trusty brayer out because apparently I love it so much. I just thought it would be cool to take the brayer over the texture to see what happens. And it's okay. I like the texture that it adds, but it wasn't exactly what I was hoping to accomplish. So I'm just gonna add some more phthalo and do another wash on top. The darker color gave me a lot of good dimension, but then I couldn't see the yellow anymore. So, like I said, I took a sponge and tried to take up a little bit of that excess phthalo color. And I loved the way it held on to the texture and created these shadows and gave the painting some really interesting depth and things to look at. And at first I thought, what will I put on top of it? But the more I looked at it, the more I thought it's kind of nice on its own. This was my experimentation. Super thick layers of texture, and I got the pastels out again because I hadn't used the pastels with the texture, and so I thought I would give that a go. Of course, I didn't let it dry long enough, and so the texture's coming up a little bit, but that's okay. Here I really am just experimenting, just seeing what happens basically, and learning. Because at first I thought, I don't think I like this. I probably won't do this again. I need a smaller brush to get into the nooks and crannies. I'm not sure about this. I don't know. So I just took some pink paint over it just to kind of see what it would look like covered up. And I needed a smaller brush. But this was my last square, so I was getting tired. And I wasn't too concerned about it. I didn't hate it. I just thought it needed more time and consideration than I had left in me. So I wanted to finish the 9-up, but I didn't give this the tender loving care it needed. I didn't want to leave it there though, so I took some black paint over it, and I thought that it would give it a cool kind of metallic-y. It almost reminds me of like a breastplate or something. And so other than the sumi, I hadn't used a lot of black, so I said, well, let's try black and let's just see what happens. And yeah, you can see what happens. The smaller brush would have helped fill in some of those spaces, but it's okay. This was all for fun and experimentation. I'm happy with how they turned out. I learned a lot, I experimented a lot, and I tried new things, and that's what art's all about. I hope you do the same. Let me know in the comments if you've experimented with anything lately. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.